Hello everybody, this is Lucy, and today I would like to showcase my brand new stencil that's called Random Pixels. And this is a stencil that loves to play with other stencils. So I think that everybody should have this stencil in their toolbox, really, because there's so much stuff you can do. Today we're going to do something like that, like a tone on tone that I'm going to combine with other stencils. But I just want to show you how, when I'm trying to bring like a painting or something together, it's really great to use like in little areas like that. I like to use it in black and white on top of each other to create depth. And if you look at my other videos on YouTube, you'll see that I like to build up layers and adding layers of stencils on top of stencils in black and white. So you can check out these other ones and see how you can use that stencil in the same manner. So right now we're just going to get started on our little tone on tone bouquet. So today I'm going to use this stencil. I'm going to also use my new leaf stencil, and I'm going to use also my retro blooms and vase stencil, all by StencilGirl. So let's start by making ourselves a little template. This is a 5x7. So what I usually do is I just trace, I center it and I just trace it. Okay. So I make myself like a border like that, and I'm gonna block it with tape. This is frog tape that I get at the hardware store. Okay, so I'm just gonna do that because you'll see we're gonna do our background first with a little bit of a resist technique. I'm gonna show you. That's super simple. Okay, so we're ready to get started. So I want to build up my first layer first, and for that I'm going to use a white crayon, just a regular white crayon, and just kind of put a little bit of texture in the background. So very loose, very just textual. You can do anything you want. I'm just going to do this. Make sure that you press hard enough though, because we want to be able to see it. All right, and then actually for the paper that I'm using for this is Fabriano. In case you're wondering, it's this paper, Fabriano hot press, 140 pounds. But you can also just use your sketchbook. You don't need to use watercolor paper. So I'm gonna start putting color now. So I mixed Prussian blue and Chinese blue together to get like a nice blue. If you have a color that you already like that's perfect right out of the tube, go for it. I usually kind of find that hard, like especially this kind of blue is great. This is my cat. What do you want, Wiley? What? And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a little white here because I don't want it to be, I want it to be kind of, yeah, do you agree? My cat is very interested in my art, which is good, right? Okay, I'm gonna add a lot of water because I want the lines to show. Right, the lines that we just did in the background. Look at that. So cool. There you go. So that is my first layer. You can, if you want, you can use paper to blot out some of the paint sometimes, or some of the water out of it. See, that works pretty well, and that creates a kind of a cool texture too. Kind of using it as a printing plate, right? Yeah, because I want to keep going, so I want it to dry fast and I don't want it to be too dark. So, okay, so we're ready to start our next layer. So we're going to start building up layers in blue, darker blue than the background. And we're going to use my autumn leaves stencil. So let's kind of put, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to start with maybe this one here. And this is all like tone on tone. But you see what's kind of cool about using the crayon is that it brings out these lines, right? It's really cool. So from underneath. So I'm going to go in and I'm just creating textures right now. So I'm going to go with this one maybe like that. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just building up layers with dark and light. So right now I'm building up the darker one and I'm gonna go back with white on top of this. All right, see, it's already cool looking. Love it. I love this stencil. I really love it. Okay, so let's try this one now. Okay. Don't use too much paint on your sponge. But since it's just a background anyway that we're going to paint on top of it, doesn't really matter if it's super sharp. All right, look at that. So this looks great. So let's build up. So let's go back with white on top of this. So I'm going to take another sponge. I'm just going to go in with white. You could add a little bit of color in there if you want. What I'm going to do is use kind of an almost dry sponge for this. And I'm going to use another leaf. And I'm going to put it there just to create texture. See how cool. And then oh, I'm going to use this one too. So this one is really fun to use for texture. Let's see, I'm going to use it kind of here. And not the whole leaf, just to get that pattern. And this is when I'm going to go with my new stencil, my new pixels. And I'm going to add a bunch of texture with that. So, and I might add a little bit of, for now, maybe I'm going to put a little bit of blue in it because I don't want it to be super dark yet. But I'm going to start randomly adding, look at that. Isn't that cool? I love it. It makes everything look good. I'm telling you. I don't know how I live without this stencil all my life. Look at that. It's so awesome. I'm going to randomly put a little area of this. Looks awesome already. Okay, so now I'm going to want to build up my little bouquet. So I'm going to grab my bouquet, my retro vase and bloom stencil, and then I want to place my bouquet somewhere. Not my bouquet, but my vase. So I think I'm going to put it there. So I'm going to use white to overprint that. Start with that anyway. Because I want the shape to be, I want to define the shape a little bit. But I don't want it to be too dark. So it might be a little bit too dark already. So what I'm going to do is try to pull some paint. Okay, because I want to see what's happening underneath. Okay. All right, that's pretty good. And then what I want to do is go back with my white paint and use my stencil, my pixel stencil. Okay. And I'm going to add some pixels. So this, any stencil you have, you can use that as a mask, right? And then I'm gonna put this on top, layer this on top, and this is where you want to have a little more paint, because you want it to just sit on top of the white, a tone on tone. But look at that, isn't that cool? It's so cool. I love it. So you're basically done now for this part, and then we're gonna add, I think I want to add, because these were not really dark, so I'm gonna add some white on top, white little, see, you can do some that's more diluted and some, like, I'm gonna add some more here. I think the biggest problem with this stencil is like knowing when to stop, because you just don't want to stop. And I might want to fix this little corner here because it's kind of getting lost. Okay, there you go. All right, so what we want to do is pull our tape and then do our flowers. Okay, so this is Wiley. And he wants to say that he really likes my art. And also he's got a great tail that could be a nice brush, but he won't let me use it. I don't know why. So now we're ready to pull our little tape. Carefully. What do you want, Wiley? What do you want? What is it? Here. Everybody's a critic. I think he doesn't like the blue. All right. So look at that. Woo! Pretty, huh? Okay, so now we're gonna go and use my bloom, retro vase and bloom, and then we're gonna add our little flowers here. So I'm gonna add one here and one up there, and mix my color with a little bit of white. All right, and then let's see, let's put one here. Okay, and then I'll put another one up here, like that, maybe. It's Wiley again. And I think this one is not dark enough, so I think we're gonna go back and get some darker paint so that is more contrast. Let's go back in. This is a great thing about doing stencils. You can just go on top, change the color if you want. Okay, let's see how this looks. Yeah, that's better. Okay, we're almost done. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to use a color pencil. This was green aquamarine by Derwent, but any kind of colored pencil would do, whatever color you decide to do for your tone on tone. So I'm going to put my stems like this. I think it's not completely dry yet, but okay, so I have my stem. Sometimes I like to bring my stems right through the vase, so I might do that. Why not? It's kind of cool. And then I'm gonna do some flourish, and maybe another one up here. Cool. And I'm just gonna add some little leaves here. Maybe another one here. Simple. And maybe a few dots right here. So now that I'm looking at it, I feel like this needs to be some white dots. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna add white dots. That's better, right? Yeah, much better. And that's it. Enjoy!